Then next year, 2012, you had a few placements. Chris Renee, Young Homie, Nicki Minaj, Marilyn Monroe. Maroon 5, Wipe Your Eyes.
Yeah.
How big of a deal was it to do a song with Maroon 5?
That was pretty cool. That was, kind of that. I went through just lucky kind of unexpected era where rock bands at that time were trying to reinvent themselves. They were kind of like, hey, people aren't really listening to rock like that. And they were taking tracks, for lack of a better word. They were taking flips, they were taking beats, and in some cases, if they were good musicians, maybe overdubbing guitars and real drums and things like that over that. So Dry Your Eyes was one of those like, yeah, amazing things. Wow, I'm working with Maroon 5 right now. I don't even know if I had, I don't even know if that was the intention. Like I probably was making like a dope kind of like pop song, sending it to them. But I can't remember if like Fall Out Boy Centuries and, Panic at the Disco. I mean, I went through a whole rock era that was unexpected.
Yeah, that came later.
That came later. Okay.
That came later.
Okay.
But, well, that same year, though, you do Machine Gun Kelly featuring Cassie, Warning Shot.
Yeah.
So were you in the studio with Cassie when she put that together?
I was in the studio with MGK, I think. And then I don't even remember how that one...
Because MGK was signed to Bad Boy during that time, right?
That's when I met. Yeah. So we would see Puff at the studios constantly, and MGK was around them, and yeah, he invited us to. We went to his. I don't like to say this, but we went to his house, and MGK was there, and Cassie was there. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see any kind of like weird stuff. I just saw like an insane house that made me be like, wow, I gotta up my game. My condo is shit compared to this guy's house.
Well, were you there when Cassie actually laid down her vocals?
Honestly, I don't remember. Possibly. I know I was there. I think I was there when MGK laid his down, and I don't remember. No, maybe that might have been a Diddy call, because I feel like I don't think she wrote it. I mean, you'd probably know this. It's all a blur. I don't think she wrote that. Idea. I think we had the hook. I think it was similar to a Nicki Minaj Fly thing, where it's kind of like, hey, who are we going to put on this? Diddy was going to put Cassie on it. That was a Diddy call. I'm sure.
Okay, now I want you to answer this question honestly.
Sure.
As someone that actually technically produced Cassie, right? Because you have a song with Cassie on it. How would you rate Cassie as an artist? Be honest.
As an artist?
As an artist.
No. I mean, artists can be different things, right? Somebody can have like real artistry. They're a singer-songwriter. We all know Cassie is not that. Cassie's a very, very, very attractive girl with a good voice. But that's more, I think it was more about the look and the swag and who's producing her stuff, right? Like Me and You was a dope song. Yeah. But that was like Ryan Leslie. Yeah. So no, I mean, look, I'm not here to like bash anyone or rate people, but it's like, no, I don't look at her as like an artist. I look at her as like maybe the way somebody today would look at an influencer or somebody. She's a model who has a, passable voice.
Right. And people kind of get on me when I say this. But the reality, because there's all these, with the Diddy story being out there and Cassie being so part of the Diddy story, that there's this whole thing of, well, Diddy constantly had this carrot in front of Cassie. He held her music career back. He didn't really put the effort into her. And my whole thing was like, look, Cassie's a pretty girl. She stumbled onto a hit early on, mostly because of her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone, yeah. I don't know anyone who would disagree with that.
Right. And because she started dating the owner of the label she was signed to, she was given a lot of chances, and a lot of time and money were put into giving her studio time, put on this song, put on that song. And I know someone, a good friend of mine worked at Bad Boy, and he said that, listen, when there's a Cassie song, they pushed it just like any other artist. They tried.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when it's all said and done, Cassie is not a star in terms of singing. She's not a phenomenal talent. She was given more chances than she should have. Like if she wasn't dating Diddy, she would have been shelved a long time ago. And I'm not bashing Cassie, but it is what it is.
No,
from a musical standpoint.
From a musical, if we're talking purely like music and artists, and we're not talking about like horrible, disgusting crimes.
I'm not talking about the abuse she went through, whatever else. I'm just talking about strictly musically. If she was not signed to her boyfriend at the time, she would have gotten dropped
Yeah.
by any label. There was no bidding war when
No.
Cassie finally went solo. Like, it is what it is.
100%. And I'll say this, like, listen, in the music game is kind of like there's, you know, like anything, right? There's songs, right? There's hit songs where like, wow, this song is a hit, and you could give this song to a lot of different kind of artists, and on the strength of the song itself, it's just going to be a hit, no matter who's singing it. That's when things are song driven. And then there's like superstars where they're, you know, it's just a different thing. It's not about the song.
Yeah, Adele. Adele is an example of a superstar.
Adele, yeah.
You give her any song and she'll turn to something special.
Well, not only that, she's also a singer-songwriter who's writing her own stuff. So she has
Yeah.
the extra talent on top of that, where she's actually an incredible songwriter. Not that she doesn't collaborate with others, but she's an incredible songwriter. Cassie, like a lot of like other people, when certain things are just completely song-driven, people have the mentality, and it's less so now with social media, where it's like, hey, she's very pretty, she's easy on the eyes, she's got a good voice. If we give her enough dope songs and we push it the right way, we can make this work. And that's like the machine working. And sometimes that works to different degrees. But like Rihanna was never known as like a songwriter either, right? Rihanna was also an example. She's not like an Adele or an Ed Sheeran or an Amy Winehouse who writes her own songs. However, she has this it factor,
Yeah.
you know, as does like a Frank Sinatra or a Madonna who never
Right.
wrote their own songs really.
Right. Cassie does not, though.
No, so she's
and
not.
that's
no,
and that's
so
not
she's
a,
not that.
That's not a knock at Cassie, because listen, everyone has their own path. But I hate the whole, you know, storyline of she could have been this mega superstar,
Who said
but
that?
Puffy.
Who said that?
Oh, you've seen in these
Okay,
Diddy
yeah, no.
documentaries, and I've had arguments with people about this on my show. It's like, look, she got lucky and got a hit early on, but that was really her only hit.
Yeah.
And she vocally was not that strong. And listen, not everyone gets a hit ever. She's lucky to have that.
Correct.
She could still tour off that.
Correct.
But
some people were
she was not a Mary J. Blige. She
No,
was
no,
not
no.
a Whitney Houston. She was not even like, you know, other singers that we all know about that actually had multiple albums and multiple hit songs. It is what it is.
Yeah, in the circle that I'm in, producers, songwriters, artists, I don't think anybody, you know, from where I'm coming from, nobody speaks of her as, you know, an artist. People speak of, you know, it's more, yeah, she's a pretty face.
There you go.
She had a reason. I mean, listen, I can't sing at all, so she can sing better than me. But is she
Right.
known as like an Ariana Grande or a Whitney
No.
Houston type vocal?
No.
Not at all. But remember, this was an era I was working with people like Paris Hilton and
Yeah.
like so you could have some
Another
fame.
non-singer, yeah.
So you could have a fame and
Yeah,
if you
but
get
Paris
the,
Hilton didn't really have a music career either.
no, she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't. So the creative.
They tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you can get to a certain extent, but if you're not really if you're not really like about that, you know, music, like it was in your blood, there is a limit to how far that's going to go. And yes, if you get the right team behind you, they can push it a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's the audience that decides there's only so much a major label. There's only so much money you could throw at something. It's either going to connect or it's not going to connect. You know, like it's got to have a combination of actually being dope and having money behind it. It can't just be okay. And like you said, yeah, there's a lot of one-hit wonders who got lucky with a song, but that didn't have a long music career because maybe they were not meant to.
Yeah, and look, when you look at the lawsuit, there's literally parts in the lawsuit, because I went into great detail on this, where she left Diddy and then his manager will call her and said, listen, we're not going to push your music unless you come back and talk to Diddy, and we're not going to push your singles and so forth. And I feel like at some point Cassie should have just said, listen, I'm not really a singer, I'm not really an artist like that. I need to just accept that and move on to the next chapter of my life, which ultimately she did. And it seems like she was happy with it. She got married, she had kids. Not everyone's meant to be on stage in front of millions of people. Like, people have their moments. Anyone could have a hit. Anyone could have a hit. Yeah. You could have a hit song, I could have a hit song. Yeah. If given the right writer, the right beat at the right moment. But that doesn't mean that you and I are vocal artists like that.
Not at all. Not at all. Just like you said. Yeah, anyone could have one hit. Anyone could get lucky. To have a longevity, a very long career with a string of hits and all that, you have to be doing something right.
Right.
To some extent. And your superpower could be you're an amazing songwriter. It could be you're an amazing vocalist. It could be you just have this it factor that's unexplainable, a Madonna, kind of thing. Yeah. And I 100% agree with you. Not everyone was meant for a flourishing music career.